Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, you are back for another episode of YouTube Near Me Not to Hear Me. In the background, you hear one of my favorite artists, and I know this gentleman is one of his favorite artists. This is Steely Dan. This is Hey 19. Man, I gotta tell you, the brother that you see here on the screen is somebody who has touched my life, man, in so many ways. Just a good brother. So, you know, they call us the men of Morehouse. But I will tell you, this guy right here, he is a true gentleman. He is a man upon men. And I truly appreciate him, man. I want to introduce you guys to my main man, Mr. David Dada. What's up, brother?
What's up, man? How you doing, brother?
Hey, man. Hey, dude. I cannot complain, man. It's an early morning. I got you. I know you're super busy, but I was like, man, dude, I gotta have you on the show, man. Hey, man. Just to get us started off, man, I gotta tell people about this connection. So when I got to Morehouse, man, I always saw, I was looking for someone to pattern myself after, looking for somebody who would be, you know, the mold to fall into, you know, how to do things, and in that search, I found a myriad of different people. But I found in you two things that were super important to me. One, I thought I was a basketball player. Come from the south side of Chicago, man, everybody was supposed to play ball. Although I'm a tennis player by heart,
Right.
I thought I could hoop. Found out I couldn't hoop once I started playing with you. And the second thing is, and this is most important, man, you solidified for me what it meant to have a consistent drive and a focus. Even in the midst of, you know, just having a balance of, you know, the fun times but you instilled in me that I was doing the right thing and being focused, particularly about my studies and what I was trying to get accomplished. And you simply demonstrated that by being who you are. Like I sat back and I just watched you. I was like, this dude comes in, closes his door, he's studying, he's knocking the stuff out, comes out, has a great time, then goes back in, does his thing, and always moves with a purpose. And I was just like, that's what I'm talking about. That helped me to just say, okay, I'm on the right path. I know I'm not alone in this. I don't feel like I'm the goof in this. I definitely feel like, you know, I got somebody who has done it. But to go back to my first point, so basketball, you probably won't remember this, but I definitely remember this. We are at the gym at Archer Hall. I come in and playing a little pickup game, and it's me and Flo. I think Larry Lou was there.
Okay.
Some other cats, and you guys are just finishing up. I think it was practice, and you were just kind of doing a shoot around, like you were, you know, putting up shots, and then we like, oh, let's play a little pickup game. And so I got in and got a chance. We were playing 3-on-3. I forgot who the third person was, but you and I were on the same team. And you were like, all right, Davis, get in the paint. Big boy, I need to put you down in the paint and make it happen. I'm like, all right, back to the basket. And, dude, I think I was all over the place. I wasn't reading passes that you were giving to me. I wasn't, you know, setting the right picks on the right side. I didn't roll the correct way. I was all over the place. And we played this little quick pickup game, and then you just pulled me off to the side and you said, okay, Dan, I'm gonna show you two things. I'm going to show you how to read passes, and I'm going to show you how to drop, step, and move to the basket. Big man stuff, right? What you showed me was something that I even took in my coaching when I started coaching girls and boys basketball. You said, if I give you a bounce pass off down to your right-hand side, that's the side I need you to turn on. Because I can see what's behind you and you can't see it. If I throw a pass to you, you know, straight chest to chest, that means I just want you to throw it back. I don't need you to move anywhere. I just need you to throw it back. There's a purpose behind what I'm doing. If I throw it high to your right or to your left, that's the side I need you to turn and I need you to shoot the J. So read the pass. It was 3 simple passes. If it's high, turn. Whatever side it is, turn, shoot the J. If it's the middle, throw it back. If it's down low, that's the side I need you to turn and drop step, put dribble drive on. And I was just like, huh, okay. So it was teaching me the two-man game.
Right.
And bro, I know you're a coach. You do this now, and I'll let you get into that. But just that one little piece of advice, dude, made a huge difference in my game. And as my game, as I went throughout the rest of college and even into, just playing a little park and rec and pickup ball. Like, dude, Flo and I talk about it all the time. He was like, well, dude, you should have been doing that from the first place. You know how Flo talk.
Yeah.
But it was something that was so simple, but yet you said, let me just take the time. Because I know you could have got frustrated and like, dude, I ain't playing with you no more, man. Come on, you don't know what you're doing. Get off the court, man. But you took that in, and we played another game, and dude, shoot, man, I was grease lightning, boy. Read the pass, down low, drop it, hit it back. Learn how to set the picks, set solid picks, things like that, man. And so over time, in the short period of time we were together, man, you really kind of gave me what it meant to play big man basketball, back to the basket, learning how, if your back is to the basket, learning how to see what was happening on the floor, telling your guard or your forwards and something like, hey man, come this side. I'll seal your man off and get mine too. It was a master class in just playing the game, and it made me so much more aware that I was like, all right, dude, I can shoot. Man, let me get in the NBA. I'll seal these fools. They don't understand nothing, man. I ain't got to score points. I just play some D, get some rebounds, and just run the floor. It's like, that's it, man. So I took all that long time to say that, dude, because that means so much more to me in a lot of ways. Just those two kind of things, man. The skills of basketball, and just, man, the kind of person that you are. So I said all that to say to that precursor, Dave, what's up, man? Talk to me, bro.
What's up, Dan? So, Dan, I'm going to tell you, I remember briefly us doing some basketball stuff. I really didn't, that doesn't really stick in my memory. But I will tell you, the person I am, I always want to win. So whoever I'm playing with, if I can help you help me win, I'm going to do that.
Oh, bro. Man, I mean, and it was clear. I mean, and it's a confidence builder. So now, tell folks what you do now, man, and tell me about some of the things that you've incorporated to help the young people that you serve.
Okay. Well, for those who know me, I started my career really in sports administration. So I did 15 years in pro sports and Olympic sports, et cetera, et cetera. Uh, and all the while, I was still involved in youth basketball in different capacities, even if it was just coaching summer basketball camps at the different colleges and universities around the country, or if it was, skills development with specific kids. So I had that drive, and I just decided this is what I want to do full time. And in Georgia, in order to be a head coach, high school wise, you have to teach. So I went ahead and got my teacher certification and started, teaching on the high school level and coaching. So I teach health and PE, and I coach high school basketball.
Okay.
All right. So I'm the head coach at Carver High School, which is one of the inner city schools here in Atlanta Public Schools on the southeast side of the city, which is one of the edgier sides, edgier neighborhoods. And I'm a DC native, so I'm an inner city kid, and we kind of understand each other. The kids understand me, I understand them. And the good thing is that as we grow through, as you say, black men, we learn some lessons on things that will help us be successful, things that will help navigate some of the landmines that are set up for us, and those kind of things, as well as having that love and that passion for a sport or something that you can, one, use as an outlet, two, that teaches you tools and life skills, and three can help provide a path for you to get out of the different neighborhoods that you grow up in. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's just kind of a precursor, you
Bro,
know.
I love it, man. I mean, so, 25 years I've been an educator, man. How funny is that, right? I come out of Morehouse, and I was headed for law school. No, bro, I did a complete 180, stayed in education, K through 12 teacher, administrator, worked in boarding schools, independent schools, public and charter schools. And
Right,
I will tell you that, one of the things that's most rewarding is that when you are representative not only of being a black person in the school, but a black male in the school, and what that means not only to black children, but it also means to white children, to Asian children, to Hispanic children,
right,
because we project an image that is real. This is not something that is cartoonish and what they see on the video or anything
right.
else, man. And I think of the pedigree and the cloth that we're cut from. It sets a great standard. The reason why, and this is funny, the reason why I moved to D.C. after 2 years of working in boarding schools was that there was a an article that you remember Kamani Thompson.
Yeah, yeah. Come on.
His mom had sent me an article talking about the need for more black male teachers in D.C. and in Maryland,
Right,
and I was like, okay, it was so compelling because it called for all of the things that we're talking about now, but more than anything, that there was a shift that needed to happen at this time. So we're talking about late 90s. There's a shift
right.
that needed to be happening because the cities were trying to come up out of crack kind of epidemic, drug kind of epidemic.
Yeah,
I don't want to call it gangs, but just this kind of crime mentality.
right.
And that you needed to kind of be able to set a path for young people, and they needed folks to represent. And I was like, okay, I'm taking it. I took that moniker. I said, okay, I'm leaving Chicago. I'm going to, live in D.C. In '96, and worked in PG County at Largo High School.
Okay.
And that's where I started out for 4 years, man. And that training alone was one that just,
Yeah,
it gave me the real to real. So I thought Chicago was one thing, but here it is. You're in a black affluent neighborhood, but it's also on the edge of some of the stuff that's just like, whoa, like super. So you're getting this mixture of two crowds. And I remember, yes, there were black administrators. Gordon Sampson was my principal. There are others that were there. My man Doug Jones was a VP there. But it was something about black male teachers in that building. Weren't that many of us, but enough of us that, they saw us, and that there's an immediate magnet and gravitation towards you. Because they want to see
right,
what you're going to do, what you're going to say. Are you going to clown out like the rest of them, or are you just going to hold to a standard?
right.
Do you find that when that kind of situation being there at Carver?
It's absolutely there. I mean, and this is one of the things that you really don't even think about it, but a lot of the kids have not grown up with adult males in the household. So when they're looking at you and your responses, how you react, how you respond, how you interact with them, they're usually looking at you from an adversarial, you know, perspective because one, let's say mom has a boyfriend, you're not my daddy, you can't tell me what to do. There's that. Two, you're an older guy in the neighborhood. If you're not doing nothing, how are you gonna tell me what to do? You know. So three, if you're like generally some of the older, let's say disciplinarians, police, police precincts, police members, those are the individuals that they see consistently who don't necessarily fit with their image of what black manhood is. So you're really projecting so many different images to these guys. Uh, and I didn't realize it until probably my third year teaching. I didn't realize the depth of how much of a role model I played in their
Tell,
lives.
tell me about something that takes you back to that time when you kind of realized that, man. Who was it, or tell a little bit about the situation, man.
Well, I can tell you a situation where I had a young man and he missed a lot of days. He kept missing days. He played basketball for me, and he had talent. He wasn't, he had athletic ability. Let's put it that way. He had athletic ability. He didn't necessarily have great skill, um, but he was when he was there, he was a hard worker. But he kept missing days, and I'm like, dude, why are you missing days? What's going on at the house? And he didn't want to tell me. He didn't want to tell me. And I'm like, look, man, I can't help you unless, you tell me. And you're about to get kicked out of school. You're missing all these days. They're going to kick you out of school. Um, well, the kid, he had two younger siblings at the house and his mom was a drug addict. And so she would not be home for days at a time. And so this kid was raising dogs. He was raising pit bulls, and he was raising, what do you call them, Rottweilers, and selling them. And that's how he
He's making his
helped
money.
making money too. Right. So, when I saw that, when he finally told me that, and he's like, well, I got to do this so I can have enough money for the dog food, and I got to do. So he's doing some things that are like really on the edge, trying to make sure he stays legal, so to speak, but it's still putting himself at risk. So, we had to figure out a plan, you know, that would allow him to stay in school. We're like, well, we can get you caught up. You can just be a part of this program. As a program and let him be in school half the day and also work half the day. So it was like, I'm not going to call it a vocational training program, but it was
But
a program to set.
it's alternative, yeah, to
Right,
regular setting.
right. And I said, you got to pick, man, because basketball's fun and I know you love it, but right now you're not good enough. It's not going to get you to college. Basketball is not going to get you to college where it will pay for your college. So you got to think about what you want to do. And so we sat down, we had to sit down and kind of like plan stuff out for him. What do you want to do? Do you know? Okay. So, you have these responsibilities. You feel tied to these responsibilities, even though they're not yours. So how can you fulfill these? So, it's just a matter of planning things out and working out a plan. We ended up getting them signed up to take an apprenticeship at a technical college for barbering. And so then he went and got his barber license. He was able to he was able to go to school. He was able to make cash regularly so he could take care of his family responsibilities. And he did that for a number of years. And I actually ran into him like 10 years ago. And he had stopped barbering. He had gone back to school to learn a vocation in oil and gas. And he was working up in, at the time, he was working up in Montana and the Dakotas in the oil and gas industry. Yeah. So,
Wow, man,
so I mean, you know,
just think about the impact of that, man. Just for you to, he could have easily been thrown away, just
yeah,
because of the fact of the truancy and the fact that he wasn't, and he probably had an apathy towards his regular teachers. Yet, because of maybe your connection with him being in basketball and his coach, you saw something in him and just said, okay, let's try and figure this out. How many times have we gone into situations where that's not the case for every kid, or you've seen that happen for somebody who had the potential to do, but they kind of just threw him away. I know that I've seen it over the years.
yeah, Dan, if you don't mind, I'm going to say I wasn't the only person who saw the potential of them. There's plenty who see the potential in these kids. If you're a black person, if you're a black man or woman working in these inner city schools, 95% of us do it because we want to be there, because we know what the kids are going through, and we want to help them as people helped us find our way. Okay, that's one thing. Okay, the other thing is we grew up in an era where in order to go somewhere, you were taught to put your Sunday's best on. So we grew up in an era where we saw individuals wearing shirts and ties and jackets and hard shoes, and it wasn't foreign to us. Okay, well, when these kids see somebody who's dressing in that fashion, for the most part, they think of them as square. They lame, they
Mm-hmm.
square, they don't give you, like, you could have grown up in the same neighborhood 40 years ago, but they don't necessarily see you in that vein because they're not accustomed to seeing people, you know, in that walk of life. So a lot of it for these kids is authenticity. It's just a matter of, do I know you care and do I trust you enough? And, first, what's going to tie me? Am I going to look at you and think you're trying to be like this type of person, or am I going to think that you're authentic and you truly care about us? So, unfortunately, it's that old saying: kids don't care how much you know; they want to know how much you care. That's it.
Wow. I love that. I love that. And I've heard that many times, man, but I love that because I I can concur with you 100%. Somebody just recently asked me, how is it that over my years that I've been going to schools, how is it that I can immediately walk in the door and make connections like that? And I said, men lie, women lie, kids know the truth.
Boy,
They can see straight through you. And they can tell just in the way that you approach them, how you listen to them, how you support them, and engage with them to make them feel valued. Somebody asked me a question: how do you get kids to be intrinsically connected and involved? And I say, you don't approach them in a sense of saying, well, this is what you got to do. Do what I tell you to do. Nope. I believe in the philosophy that you offer to children a buffet. Here's the table in which I want you to make your selection from. Here's what I want you to eat from. Here you go. You got a lot of different choices.
right.
And I'm offering to you things that I believe and know that will really be able to support what you need to do. But I simply offer them as choices. You choose not to eat at a buffet, but you ain't gonna eat. What you,
Right.
so what you want to do? That's kind of like my way of connecting and link. That's even what my way of connecting with people. You said something a moment ago about just showing authenticity. To be authentic and to be genuine is something that is key to connecting with people, but it's a thing that we all are looking for in determining whether or not is this worth my time.
Yeah.
Your time is precious, man. The moments that you spend just doing what you do and picking your partner, rearing kids, being a brother or a sister or sibling, niece, nephew, uncle, aunt, whatever you are, there has got to be something about you that has to come across in a genuine and authentic manner about how I spend my time. And others have got to see that. And I think that's the reason why those connections are made with some folks, and certain folks, you can see the selfishness. I'm not going to talk about the dude who's in the White House.
Yeah, let's not. Let's stay on a different level.
Ooh, my goodness. But if that's not clear and evident for most people, I just, okay. Because I don't think, there's a clear example of that's not genuine and that's not authentic. I'm just saying.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just saying. And I'm not giving a standard of who is and who is not, who is, but I can tell you who's not, and that
Well,
is
you can
not.
see it. Yeah, that is not. But you got to understand the lens we're looking through also. So we're looking at it through a different lens than other people look through it. You know.
And that's hard, Dave. That's hard. I mean, since COVID and this health pandemic, since I call the social pandemic with
Right.
George Floyd and everything that's going on, Tell me about the kinds of conversations that you have had with folks who don't look like you, who are asking questions of you.
Well, I've had the good fortune to work in, very diverse communities, as well as like where I teach is not a diverse community. 98% Black or Latino. You know, um, Generally there's maybe two, maybe two white, 2 to 3 white students. Um, you know, but saying all that, if you're an inner city resident for any period of time, you know that gentrification is real and the change and the shift does take place. And
Bro.
so, we know it takes place. So, um, but to get back to those conversations, there are some people who you just have to realize they, the lens that they see, that they view things from, is one that will never allow it. They will never allow themselves to view it from, not even from your perspective, but from a perspective of seeing outside of themselves. That's just the thing. They cannot see anything outside of their limited scope. So, and I'm going to say, Black people. There's not just people who don't
Oh,
look like me. There's
well, I
certainly
agree.
very many Black people who are the same way. Um, and so, one of the good thing that I've had the opportunity to is I think for about 5 years we shared office space. I shared office space with two white PE teachers and coaches. Um, and we used to have some like just fantastic conversations. Uh, one of them is now working on his doctorate. He's in I was going to say New Zealand. He's not in New Zealand. I'm sorry. He's in Norway working on his doctorate. And the other one is still in the Atlanta, Georgia area. She teaches and coaches here. Um, she grew up in a small town in the South. So, but just we are very close. We have difficult conversations to the point where it's like make each other uncomfortable and and get comfortable feeling uncomfortable so you can
Hmm.
grow past those feelings. So those were some of the things that had to happen in order for growth to take place. So I think that was positive.
Because Dave, what caught me, and the reason why this is on my mind is that I have a neighbor of mine who has truly been heartfelt affected by what he saw with George Floyd and the plight of black people, because he feels like, wow, I didn't even see this. Like in my
Right.
world, this wasn't, I didn't even know. He said, but now that my lens is cleared, and I'm like, wow. So he's got Black Lives Matters on in near his house, his kids. I mean, dude, and it's genuine and honest, and
Right.
he wants to engage in conversation because he's thirsting and wants to know. It's like I call him when the first time that a person gets baptized and saved, they become super Jesus folks.
Right.
Like, like I'm gonna save the world, and I get it, and I'm like, okay, well, this is gonna pass, and then we're gonna get back down to the ground. Well, we got back down to the ground. I had a conversation with him yesterday, and we were talking about Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and Trump and Pence. Now, I respect anybody for their opinions that they have about who they want to vote for, especially if you want to share it in a conversation. But if you ask me my opinion about things, I'm going to lay it out in a way that helps you understand my perspective of both sides and the reason why I'm choosing to go in this direction.
Right.
And the question I always start off with is give me 5 reasons why I should vote for Donald Trump. Give me 5 reasons. Things that have impacted and done something great that I can believe that he will continue on in that vein with the best interest of not only the country, but my own best interest, not all of them, but just enough of them that for what
Right.
is it? For Safety, shelter, and the possibilities, because it's the pursuit of happiness, right? Crickets. Well, there's the deal that's going on with China, and that was on the books already before he got here. Well, the NAFTA, it was renamed, it was the same thing. I'm not the 1%. Don't get me wrong. I'm not. But just tell me something. Give me five. Just five.
Yeah.
Now I can say on the other side of it, Joe Biden, give me five things that I can feel confident about that I know that you're going to do and accomplish or try to get set in the place that I can hang my hat on to. So I'm asking both sides.
Right. Right.
Because I don't want to feel, I honestly don't want to feel hoodwinked or bamboozled. I think,
Period.
right.
Period. Yeah.
I think the training that I have as a young man coming up on the south side of Chicago, inner city, and then being able to be fortunate enough to attend Morehouse College and then be around good brothers and good people, black and white, that were around that campus, and just the influence that has, and made me to read and understand and seek out information so that I could try and piece these things together, is the reason why I am the way that I am today. So when we get to this crossroad, and Dave, we are at this crossroad, bro, because people are saying this is the most important election ever. Hey, I hear you,
Right.
but give me five reasons why. And in that conversation, it was a challenge because there really was nothing to put behind it. Now, you got young people who are talking with you and connecting with you. I'm assuming school is either going to be online or starting soon, or something's going to be happening. Schools have started here, but majority of them have been online. The big controversy
Okay.
here is that some of these places have opened up and brought kids back in there with no plan, and these kids are
Yeah.
already gotten COVID, and now teachers are like, "Yo, I'm out. I'm walking out
Yeah. Yeah.
with a union, without a union. Like, I'm not taking it."
Right.
Dave, I can tell you personally, I have chosen to take a step back and not join back to schools. I can't. In this pandemic, I can't. I don't see anything that is set in the toolbox to make things happen the way it should. So I'm taking a step back. I'm taking care of
Right.
home first. You know.
Yeah. You have to, and that's the thing. Is I think that's the thing that's missed is people don't realize that specifically in education, why would you even try to bring all these bodies together to then go back home and spread it within your households? You have to take care of your households first, and that should be your driving force. Now, fortunately, in Atlanta public schools, they've chosen to begin the school year virtually. So for the first 9 weeks, first quarter, it's going to be virtual, and they're going to reassess based on the numbers and decide to go from there. Uh,
Which is smart.
and which is smart. But that's just within Atlanta public schools. There are several other school districts in the metro area that are going to go back in person or
You
have
got,
some
you got
combination of
Gwinnett,
oh
Decatur,
my God,
DeKalb,
Cobb,
Cobb.
Fulton,
Yeah.
you know, all those schools. Yeah. And Gwinnett was there in their mind. They're going back, in person. And I think day one there was maybe 30 to 40 cases of reported COVID, and then they had to take a step back. Cherokee County, which is just north of Cobb County,
Mm-hmm.
they went back, and day one, the next day there was maybe 20 to 30 cases of COVID, so they had to shut down for the week, and then reassess and decided, okay, we're going to virtual, you know, and there's an outcry about that. So it just depends. I mean, it's clear that people's minds are not set on what's best for their family. It's in their mind, they're I want to say they're allowing their politics to influence their day-to-day life.
And
And
when you jump into that idea, this takes us back to initially what we were about to talk and get into, which is about the conversations that are being had about,
all right, that's fine.
decisions that we need to make in November. You know, and so I'm trying not to fall into the habit of simply just saying, well, I'm going to fall in line just because you see the color of who I am and just because.
Right, absolutely.
I'm trying to pose an argument of you got to tell me and convince me, you know, you deserve my vote. And that's a very scary conversation to have because Dave, I honestly believe in some swing states, and Arizona's a swing state.
Yeah,
We can go either way. They call us
right.
purple. We red or blue. It's purple. And what I'm afraid of is that uninformed people will choose either to not vote or they're going to vote with, well, this person's already there. Let's keep on going.
Hmm.
Now, in Georgia, and you all have had enough controversy. I love your mayor. She's super awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But in thinking about who's the young lady who ran for governor and yeah,
Stacey Abrams.
when we're talking about voter suppression and fraud and the kinds of things that are going on, she's a clear case and example right there in the state of Georgia. So what are the
Well,
things that you're seeing?
well, I mean, like you want to be, you want your decisions to be informed by facts, which is something that the current administration has he's found a way to minimize the impact of science, of research, of facts. I mean, he's got, what is it? What's his statement? That's alternative facts, fake fake news. So the only thing he's made it such that I'm going to say the cultists who believe in him, if it doesn't come out of his mouth, it's to be questioned. And that's amazing to me. I mean, that to me is amazing because it's not just uneducated people who've fallen, into lockstep with them. It's people who supposedly are highly educated and they're falling right into that. I just don't understand it.
With degrees and careers and businesses and everything else.
Well, I mean, honestly, I can see the people who are business minded and who have that as their focus falling into step because for him it's all about what brings in money. He doesn't care. There's no social conscious. There's no political awareness. It does none of that matters to him. It's all about the bottom line. So if it's bringing money in, or if he sees an opportunity for people to make money, that's all he cares about. And very often the business world has gotten to. I mean, that's where we are in this country, business wise. So yeah,
It pushes us strong, man. So Dave, as a hooper, that's what I call you, man. You are a true hooper. Tell me about the NBA, man, this year, man. Tell me about your thoughts about the bubble and hey, I'm gonna tell you this. I'm Chicago, true blue, right?
right,
Born and raised. I'm a Bulls fan, regardless. Period.
right, right.
No matter if we got Jordan, not Jordan, if we ain't got D Rose, it don't matter. I'm a Bulls fan since Artis Gilmore, since back in the day, since I could understand the game. But brother, let me ask you this. So my heart is broke because everywhere we have lived, my wife and I live, or every place that I live, I have taken on being a fan of that team,
Right,
of that city. So
right.
I live here in Phoenix.
Hate it
I
for you,
had
brother. Hate it for
I
you.
had I had Sun season tickets for a couple of years when I first got here. Good seats.
Right.
Love Devin Booker. Finally, they got a real coach. I've been telling you should have hired Mark Jackson a long time ago. I don't know what your problem was, but you got at Monty. You got a good coach,
Monty, you got a good coach. Yeah, Monty's a good coach.
and these boys go 8-0 and ain't in the playoffs, bro.
That's 8-0 in the bubble. They needed a perfect storm. They needed a perfect storm to get there, man. But the playoffs are not the thing. The thing is they are moving in the right direction. You got Devin Booker. You got what's the big guy's name?
Oh, dude, I can't remember the rest of these cast names because I just call them the cast of players. But we got some talent.
Got some talent. You got a good coach. So you got a good start. You got a good foundation. Now the question is, the rest of the basketball operations continue to make good selections in terms of talent. Make it a place that people want to come to, so you can have a good mix of young talent and veterans who understand how to win. Because it's not just enough to have young talent. You have to have veterans who can teach them this is the right way to do things that will make us championship contender.
They even in this day and age, you still believe in that philosophy of just that balance of old and new, young and old, and doing that.
Can you think you can show yourself the way? There's not too many people. There's not too many people who. I
I
mean, look at
I
Jordan.
I
You talk about look at
I
Jordan.
subscribe.
Jordan
I
became something.
subscribe to what you're saying. I just want people to understand that thought and that concept because I've been preaching that since forever. If you don't have a balance on your squad of some cats who are tried and true, tested veterans, and some young cats who are moldable but yet are ready to be superstars
Yeah,
and lead and get on the team,
right.
then dude, you're not gonna make it happen, bro. And you got to have not just one person the best way that I've seen it, it's always been three. I've always seen three. Three have
Yeah,
become there's duos, but there's always and maybe it's a quad third piece, but there's a third piece that always makes it lock. Go back to the Celtics teams that won: Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, and Kevin Garnett. Three. If you really want to look at Shaq and Kobe, who's that third piece that got a rack of rings? Who they needed, who was sitting out from the side from the corner and
big
whack
big shot, big shot, Bob.
Big
But
Shot Bob.
yeah. Well, a lot of that, like you said, you're saying three. I still think you only need. I think you need two, but if you have a third, that puts you ahead of the game. Now, the other part of that is the culture. It doesn't matter what you do if the culture is like you could have the greatest players. If the culture is not there, then that talent will go to waste. That's
How do you set culture?
well,
How do you set culture?
I said it based on my expectations. I said it like, just for example, I'm going to tell on myself. I may never get another high school coaching job because the kids that come to my high school, they're they're kids from the neighborhood who maybe just want to play basketball. They're not basketball players usually. They're kids who want to play ball. Okay, so there's a difference to me. If you're a basketball player, then you already have understandings of some different fundamentals. You have a basketball IQ. You're working on things that different skills, different components of the game.
You're not
A lot
trying
of
to
these
learn how
kids,
to dribble.
you're not. But like in high school, you can dribble with your left and right hand. You can make a left and right hand layup. Every year, I have kids on my team who this is the first time they're doing this. Okay, so I'm not. I always my goal is always to win a championship. However, for me, my championship is setting the culture that we're going to work hard every day. We're going to compete. We're going to hold each other accountable for being where we're supposed to, for competing. We're going to hold each other accountable for being successful in the classroom. And we're going to make it such that every time we hit the floor, we don't worry about what's the name on anybody's jersey, they gotta compete against us. So those are the things. So I try to really hold, my culture right there. Um, and I think that if you make sure that you're competing all the time, you're always giving yourself a chance to win. And I expect to win, even if even if if I got a kid, if I got a team that the tallest kid is 6'2", and we're playing against a team with a bunch of 6'8", 6'9", I don't care. You know, I don't talk about that. We talk about how we're gonna win,
Mm-hmm.
and because you can only control the things that you have your hands on, and so that's where we try to establish our culture is what can we control. We can control our effort, we can control our attitude, we can control our communication, our body language, how we cooperate and work with each other. We can control those things. So that's what we're gonna control.
Dude, you got me
That's what we
tingling over here. You taking me back to when we was back in college, bro. I'm literally thinking of something you told me when we were back in school, and it was probably the best. You taught me about the lanes on the floor. Come on, man. There are
see. You
five
telling me
lanes.
stuff. I don't remember
Bro,
that. I
I'm
don't
telling
remember
you, I'm going to give back to you the things that you gave to me that were key. You told me about the lanes on the floor, and you said simply this: whatever lane you run in, you better know these three things. One, know your role,
that. Yeah.
stay in your lane,
Hmm.
play your position.
That's it.
You said that.
I
And
don't
dude,
remember it, but
I
I'll
do.
take it.
I'm trying to tell you because it was like, dude, Dan, whatever you doing, that lane that you running in, you better know your role, stay in your lane, and play your position. If you're not playing the five, then you ain't got your butt is no business being in that lane, and you ain't got no business being in that. You stay where you supposed to be. And I have taken that moniker with me to the work world. Like when I'm talking to to young people, talking to parents, talking to teachers, talking to students, I have said that literally to them. Know your role. Know who you are supposed to be and what you're supposed to be doing. Know your role.
Absolutely.
And then stay in your lane. I don't need you over here when you're supposed to be over here. Stay in your lane.
Yes.
And then when you stay in your lane, dang it, play your position. Don't stand there just like, well, I'm standing here. Well, play your position. Do something. You can't. You're a teacher and you want to be the principal. You're not. I get all the suggestions. I hear you. You're the principal. You're not the teacher. It's not your classroom. You can give the suggestion, the advice, the guide, but that's their classroom. They have to manage that classroom. The day that you walk in and start managing that classroom as a principal, then you own that classroom because the only people they're going to respect is you.
You. That's
And
it.
the teacher going to have none. So you can't come in there, it's Captain Save Me.
That's it.
Dude, bro, that simple thing right there.
But
Know your role, stay in your lane, play your position.
one position. And that's the thing. If we want to get back to you want to get back to the things that um, well, the reasons why I love basketball is those are such transferable lessons for life. Um, and so, like coaching the kids that I coach, that work ethic for me is everything, which I try to teach them. Because there's a narrative that black people are lazy. So that work ethic, as a black man, I'm trying to build that in that CP time. So for us, practice starts. If practice is going to start at 4, you better hit that floor at 3:30. So you already have warmed up. You're already stretched. So on time is early. On time is early.
Where
And
where we where we get that from?
yeah, you know, yeah, all of that. That's right.
You couldn't walk into class on time. What you doing?
Yeah, what you doing? Exactly. So all of those things, you know, like I require my guys to hit the floor. We do progress reports during the season. We do them weekly, where the teachers have to sign off that they have at least a 3.0. They have at least a B average in order to hit the court that week. So if we have 3 games that week, and you bring me a grade under a 3.0, you're gonna miss 3 games. Okay, doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're, you know, starting point guard. Don't matter if you're the 12th man on the bench.
So,
You're gonna miss those games. So yeah,
Mr. Coach Dada, you trying to be Coach Carter? What's going on?
well, man, you control all of this every week. You control it because if you can't play basketball, and let's just say this: if your parents are depending on basketball to pay your tuition, there's only, maybe if we're lucky, we'll have 2 kids a year. If we're lucky, we'll have 2 kids a year that will get opportunities to play, maybe on the JUCO level, maybe on the Division II level, if we're lucky. Okay, so
That's a
what
lot
happens
of
to
that's a lot of if.
what happens to the rest of the kids? Well, guess what? I've made you have a 3.0, requires you to have a 3.0. So guess what? You're eligible for the Hope Scholarship in Georgia. So if you go to school in Georgia, you got $40,000 in scholarship money minimum coming to you. You see, so for me, that's my championship, is making sure these guys graduate, making sure their GPA is high enough where if they want to go to school, they have an opportunity to get scholarship money and go. Now, if we can put it together and win some games, man, we try to do that too. So that's the thing. Yeah,
Man, bro. No,
yeah.
I feel you. I'm so Dave, let me ask you this, man. Just in and this could be for a young lady, this could be for a young man. And dude, the reason why I ask is because I find you so inspiring because it's not rocket scientist and you pulling something out of thin air. What you're talking about is very simple. It's very basic. What are 5 things that you would give as advice or maybe a book to read or something that you feel as though a young person who's watching this is saying, you know what, Dave, I just need to get started. I need to give me some direction. What are 5 things that you just like, you know what, if you do these 5 things, you should be able to get from point A to 1.7.
Okay. So I mean, you're saying 5 things. I don't know. I don't think I've thought about 5 specific points, but one thing that we talk about is, you know, find out something that you love and that you do well. Find
Find your
something that you love and
find your
something you do
passion.
well. Find your passion. Okay. Develop your skill in your passion. Okay.
Okay.
That's one. Find your passion. 2, develop skill in your passion. All right.
When you say develop your skill, and I like what you're saying and going with this, does it also mean for somebody who's thinking about it is like to go seek somebody out who's already doing it?
Whether you have to seek somebody, I mean, you don't generally, you don't develop skill without somebody who knows how to give that skill. So you're talking about education, you're talking about apprenticeship, you're talking about studying, whatever avenue, you have to improve your skill. So you're going to seek help in developing that skill. Okay. Okay. So I guess that's going to be,
That's
is that
that's
two
that's
or
two.
three?
That's two.
That's cool. Okay. Um, I'm going to say your work ethic, you know, is truly important. You have to work hard. You have to be willing to work hard.
Are you
So,
are you the same believer that I am about work hard, play hard?
oh, absolutely, it's got to be a balance. Got to be a balance. But the good thing about this though, Dan, is if it's something that's your passion and that you love, you're not working.
You ain't working.
You're not working. You're doing what you love to do. So you're not working. That's the passion. That's the beautiful thing about it. Okay.
I'm gonna put you on a quick pause and take you down memory lane.
Okay.
Lawton Street, hanging out at the house. You got the first bedroom on the left when you walk in the door. Me and Marcus are over there. on the second
right,
bedroom.
right.
We had what's it, Mike?
Mike Hammonds, Mike Hammonds at the back of the. I got a story to tell. I don't know if we want to tell it. Yeah, I can tell it,
You
but
tell it.
we got a story to tell. Yeah, we'll talk
God,
about that
God
later.
rest his soul, but yeah, man, Mike
Yeah,
had.
and then
Uh,
Barry Stewart in the first one on the right.
yeah, it is. And
Yeah.
so I felt like, man, being in that house at that time, man, everybody had a perspective of, man, get your work done first. Get your
Yeah.
work done first. I don't think there was ever this time of, all right, we just gonna goof and clown around and all that kind of stuff. Hey man, get your stuff done. All right, get your stuff done, and then we can kick it later. But I will say this: when we kicked it,
Oh boy, we had a good time.
ah, the truth never became clear about work hard, play hard. Because I'm telling you, man, for me, putting in the hard work, something that I tell young people about. And you mentioned this again. I don't understand how you don't remember all this stuff because you tell a lot of good stuff. You said something to me that I used to tell young men after you had left. I said, "Listen, I gotta tell him." He said, "Man, in the first 5 weeks of school, don't give your number out. Don't take any numbers in. And on there, you tell them, call me October 1st." You told me that. And you told me the reason why. You said, Dan, think about this. In the first 5 weeks of school, you're trying to get yourself prepped and understood for midterms. So that means you got to be read up. You got to complete the assignments. You got to stay focused on it. And if you get caught up in the social rigmarole in these first 5 weeks, you set yourself back. You may not even make it out of midterms.
Wow.
You told me that. And brother, I have used it. I have tweaked it a little bit and got it down to my little theory. I tell these young folks about this, man, and I simply say, man, I said it makes sense, especially for young brothers. Man, you can spread yourself thin at an HBCU, at any college, any place around. You
Oh
can spread
boy.
yourself thin, and brother, and we're in a situation of being 16-1,
Yeah.
16 fine sisters, and one of us. So there's a lot of
Yeah.
stuff you can get caught up in too. But the key thing was, man, tell them, call me October 1st. They're going to give you the screw face, like, what you talking about? I said, look, go check out everybody else, go kick it, do your thing. Come October 1st, you'll recognize that, I'm real.
They're gonna call you. Yeah, they're gonna call you. Yeah, they're gonna call you.
And just like you just said, they're going to call you. Watch. He said, and don't take the call September 29th. Don't take it. I told you October 1st. Because as sun up comes sun down, the midterms are going to be on you. And while everybody else is stressing, you got it made. I don't know what side of the screen you on. You told me that, Dave Dada.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, I didn't get it myself. I'm sure it was passed down to me. So I'm not going to say that's my original wisdom. I'm sure it was passed down to me.
I'm glad you passed it down because, bro, that right there got me up out of a lot of initial trouble. Because you know my story, man. I was there 87 through 89,
Right, right.
but I dipped off, man. Grades
Well,
dropped.
yeah,
And man, just I wasn't focused, partying hard, kicking it, or just literally. I don't even want to say partying hard. I had no focus, no clue. I was just existing. College was like 13th and 14th grade in those first 2 years.
right, right.
But having that reset and coming back, oh, dude, I was like, oh, Sterling Hudson was like, dude, you only get a second chance once. You better use
Yeah,
this one.
better use it.
Right.
That's it.
That's my main man, dude. I love Sterling because he took a chance on me, and gave me the opportunity to come back. And so these things that you're saying, find your passion, develop your skill, and in developing your skill, seek that help. But to have that work ethic, to understand, work hard, come first, then you can play. Because the play
Hmm.
feels so much better when you got your stuff done.
Oh boy, yes. No stress. You just enjoy for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. But think about that household, man. You think about, and I'm going to say, you know, uh, I knew Barry from DC. You knew
Okay.
Marcus from Chicago. I knew
Yeah.
Barry from DC. I knew Mike. I only knew Mike in passing from at Morehouse, um, and Mike was only at Morehouse really for maybe a year, and then he maybe a year and a half, and then he started taking classes off campus at like Georgia State. He started taking St. Leo and other avenues. Um, but I don't have to preach to you. I don't have to talk to you about Morehouse. That place, growing up in D.C., I'm my parents were Howard Loves, my grandparents were Howard Loves, so I spent a lot of time on Howard
Wow,
campus.
I did not know that, bro.
Yeah, kicking around. I spent a lot of time on Howard campus, but the time I spent on Howard campus was like probably like the time that you spent at AU in '87, right. So
Kicking it.
I knew I could not have success staying home in DC and going to Howard University. I knew that. I had seen too many of my buddies try it and fail, and I was like, man, I got to get out of here. And honestly, I had been out of school for a few years. My sister was at Spelman. My sister finished at Spelman in '89. Okay, so when I came in '87, she's my younger sister.
Okay.
Now, mind you, she's my younger sister, but when I came to Morehouse in '87, she was going into her junior year.
Wow.
Right. So I had finally made up my mind. Okay, I can't do. I can't make a living having these crappy jobs, doing this stuff that I'm not doing that. I'm going to go to school. We're going to work and help each other out because my sister and I lived off campus. Those first couple of years, well, my first 2 years, we lived off campus, and we had to grind, man. I worked. I was like valet parking cars at night. She was working, at a spaghetti factory. You know, we had to grind to survive and get through. Okay. Once I made the basketball team, it made life a lot easier for me because now I didn't have to worry about tuition money or meal money. So that helped me out a lot. But when I got on campus and I saw the kind of cats that were on campus, I mean, those guys were sharp, man. It was like guys they had a plan. They were working their plan. I mean, so that pulled me along, even though I didn't really have. I'm going to say I didn't necessarily have a specific direction that I knew I was headed in when I started. When I came back in '87, I had an idea, but I didn't have that plan. By that sophomore year, that plan had solidified. By senior year, I knew where I was going. I knew what I was going to do because I had guys like Damon Dixon
Mm-hmm.
who going to medical school. You were you're all conference performer, honorable mention, all American, but you're going to med school. Kenny Brown, you're all American in track, and you're a basketball player who's going to go to become a rocket scientist with NASA. You know what I'm talking about? We
Come
got
on,
guys like
man.
that,
Right.
guys like that. So when I think about the team, our team that went to the Final Four in 1990, I look at that team. Um, we got a medical doctor, dentist, rocket scientist, and several individuals who have at least, myself included, who at least have master's degrees. Okay. All of us finished on time. All of us got out. All of us, are doing well in our respective areas. And, that narrative is never talked about. You talk about basketball, which we had a great time. We had a great team. And those years in
No,
Archer
bro.
Hall, man, boy,
If them walls could talk, bro, come on, man. Before
yes,
we
sir.
got on the call, we were talking about them Lemoyne on games, man.
Yes, sir.
I don't know how coach just like he ain't calling no plays. Ain't no play to call. Throw the ball out there and watch them cats run. Oh, bro, the gym be packed. It be rocking. I see y'all go running the court, man, just back and forth. They throw up a dunk. Somebody come back down, throw a reverse, throw up the shot. I'm just like, oh, it was electric to me. And you're right. That team, including my boy, man, love Larry, man. And to
It
this day,
is.
man, and to this day, I don't take anything away from my other dude who went on and had
Who
NBA
had
success, Harold.
right.
I don't take nothing away from that dude because Harold was a monster. But Lou,
Yeah,
do you remember the game at the Omni when we played Clark?
absolutely.
And I told this on the show, on another show, man. I said, Marcus and I were at the game and we were by the basket.
Right.
The picture that was on the back of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, even though I think we lost the game by 1 point, well, it was close. The picture, that was a win. That was a win. The picture on the back, the picture on the back of the paper is of Larry dunking over a dude.
Right.
Dude, and I'm at home. I'm at home, and you know, Larry and I walked together in
Okay.
'94.
Right.
And shout out to my man Larry Lou and Flo and all the rest of the cats. But when I got home in Chicago, Marcus and I were talking, and Larry was in town for the combine.
Right.
I'm watching. I'm tuned in. I'm watching. I'm like, and you hear his name, Lawrence Lewis from Morehouse College. Bulls are
Yeah.
looking at him, and they're looking at Trent Tucker. And I was like, oh snap, this is about to be happening. Larry could come to the Bulls, baby. I'm talking to Marcus. I'm like, oh man, dude, could you imagine? Ah, I was like, yeah. I see the paper the next day, man, and it's like the Bulls select Trent Tucker, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So Dave, just help me in fantasy land, just for this one brief moment. Could you imagine Larry Lou with Scotty and Mike?
It would have been great if it could happen. You know, this is the thing about basketball, and it's so funny. Like I said, when I connected with Larry, it was a trip. Larry and I both walked on at Morehouse. Neither one of us was recruited to come to Morehouse. And you remember the old Dust Bowl with basketball court. Uh, Great games take place at the Dust Bowl.
Hey,
So
man.
we're playing, and I'm like, dude, you need to come on and hit this team. He's like, yeah, no, man, I don't think I was like, nah, man, you coming. And so I literally grabbed him and took him. And that joker, Larry just was not ready yet to be a pro. He was just not ready to be a pro. If he had been ready, you wouldn't have heard about Harold as much. But Harold was so determined. And honestly, I'm going to tell you, it's so crazy. That guy has he has so much drive and so much talent. But Harold had that drive because he played on a high school team that had probably, out of the 12 players on that team, Harold and Richard Winfrey, who came also,
Yep.
those two were the ones that did not go major D1 out of the 12. Those were the two that went D2. The rest of them went either mid-major or high D1. So they didn't hit the floor that much in high school. So he was hungry and he was determined, and he had that focus. You know, Harold. You know, I will tell you, Harold did not have skill. Harold had work ethic. He had athleticism,
I
and
agree.
he had a determination to be successful. And Larry had skill and athleticism, but Larry,
Oh,
yeah,
do you know he gave me my first pair of Jordans?
Larry
Larry
did.
did.
Yeah, okay.
The space boots. He gave me my
Wow.
first
Okay.
pair of Jordans, man. Oh my God, dude. And even I even say that about you, man. I honestly believe, dude, you guys should have easily been in the league. But I also understand this. The window of opportunity that slit is so small, so close.
Yeah.
But I ask this question of you. You seem not seem, but I know you will always be honest and straightforward with kids, but never discouraging. And you'll tell them, like I've told them about, just oh, so you want to be a doctor? Do you know what it really takes Do you understand what medical school? Oh, let me explain to you what medical school is and what this whole. And I break it all down. I said, yes, you can make all of this, but here's your loan and the debt and all. You kind of figure out you got to get Scott. You got these are a lot of things you got to do in order for you to get to that point. Because just because they ride in that S class doesn't tell you what they did to. They had to stay there, but in class to get that S
Right.
class.
That's
So,
right.
and the window is slim. You don't sugarcoat it.
You can't. You got to be honest. And look, this is the thing. This is a hard. This is really one of the hardest things that I face every year. I want all these kids to go to HBCU, and I'm saying the inner city kids. I want them to go to HBCU, but the problem is HBCUs don't have the budget to give full rides all the time, and if you're gonna have to take out $10,000, $12,000 worth of loan every year. So you already coming from a low income family and you starting out with 60, 70, 80,000, $100,000 worth of debt. Is that worth it? Or should you just go to a
Talk to
PWI?
talk to a
And,
brother.
and I hate that. I hate it because nothing, taking nothing away from the quality of education at the PWI, taking nothing away from that experience and that network for them will never be equivalent to what it is. And so it's apples and oranges.
Whoo!
Yeah.
What's the name of this show? You too near me not to hear me, bro. That's the truth. That is the truth. It was this whole thing. I heard people saying, well, Morehouse is the Harvard of the South. I was like, oh, let me correct you really quick. I said, Harvard is the Morehouse of the North. Get it
That's
right.
it.
Let's get it right. Don't get it twisted. We set a standard. We hold it down.
Right.
I'm like, I have a young man who, over my years, I've made sure that I've tried to get as many kids into HBCUs, but in particularly, it's something special when I can get them into my own alma
Right.
mater.
Absolutely.
This year, young man who, one of my guys, he's in my golf group and my cigar group, and shout out to Tap That Ash. His son got accepted. I wrote him a letter of recommendation. He got in. He is now spending his freshman year online at home.
Right. Wow.
So Dave, I forgot, Dave, that you came in '87 with me.
Yeah. Hmm.
So I was reliving the experience of what freshman week was like.
Yes, sir.
And I said that the thing that really set it off for me for freshman week was getting my Spelman sister.
Yeah.
Like, my girl Kelly Vini,
Hmm.
Maryland, D.C., she's still there. She's done the show. Dude, that bond and friendship has lasted still to this day. Like, we still peas
That's
in the
what it's
pod,
supposed to.
bro. And I am hurt almost for these young boys, young brothers, young men, that they're not going to get that opportunity in
Yeah.
person. I know it's going to happen a little bit later, and I hope it happens in that tighten up same way. But tell me about your Spelman sister, man. Tell me about that connection.
Well, I'm gonna say I didn't really get one because I didn't live on campus freshman.
Wow, you
So
missed it that day.
I missed that because I didn't stay on campus, and I literally had a Spelman sister. My sister was was at
Okay.
Spelman concurrently while I was there. I mean, but I didn't get that, so I never had a Spelman
Wow.
sister, right? Because I never lived on campus. I didn't get assigned anyone. Um, but I can say, uh, my nephew, my sister's youngest son,
Okay.
is beginning his second year online at Moore. He's at Morehouse. Um, he was actually here with me in Atlanta his junior and senior year in high school, and
Wow.
he played ball for me, and had an opportunity to go to several different schools, and I said, Juan, he needs to go to Morehouse. You know that? I know that,
You you
and
you was talking to him.
Yeah, and and he'd always gone to homecoming with me, and I would take him to homecoming, but he was still resistant. He was still resistant because he wanted to go to a PWI because facilities, campus, all these other stuff. I was like, dude, yeah, no, you're gonna go to Morehouse. And so after that, after freshman week, he was like, okay, Unc, I think I get it. I think I get it. I was like, yeah, yeah,
That's it, man. I mean, you can't. They won't let you bring anybody in outside during freshman week, so it's not like you can do a visit during that time. That's just strictly for us. I remember that was close.
right.
But you're right. Take them to homecoming. Take them to a couple of the games. Homecoming
Yeah,
alone is just. You know how I got hooked into Morehouse? So my sister had got accepted to Spelman. This is my second oldest sister, Carol. Got accepted to Spelman, was supposed to go. Parents got divorced at the time. It didn't happen. So she kept putting in me, you going to Morehouse. You going to Morehouse. It
right.
was quiet. I had a book, a Life magazine book about Martin Luther King since I was a kid.
Right.
I was always in the books. I mean, to the point where the pages of that book started coming out. But the picture that remained in my mind that she always kept impressing upon me is the famous picture of King sitting on the front row, and Dr. Mays is doing convocation,
Right.
in Sale Hall.
Right.
And dude, and it burned in my memory. So when I finally got my way in, so I graduated high school in '86, took a year off, got myself together, finally got my way into Morehouse. I remember, dude, just making a beeline to Sale Hall
Mhm.
so that I could sit on the front row. And I remember that day, that's Dr. Keith was up there talking, and I was like, I'm like King. Shoot, I got my legs crossed, got my tie on. I'm right here in the front row. But I said, I wish somebody would have took a picture, man, because I was reliving. Now I goofed all that off and came back, but dude, my boy Patrick Barley says it, man. He says, dude, you were the statistic of look left to you, look right, and one of them is not going to be there. He said, but you did
That's it.
something that many don't do. You
Came
turned it
back.
around and came back and
Yeah,
came back stronger and finished. And I was
that's
like,
right.
okay. I mean, I had you brothers helping me out, man. Just little things along the way, man, dude. So no, I feel you. And the hardest thing for me is to see when they can't go because they don't have the financial backing to do it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And here's what I always tell them. I said, okay, well, here's your plan. Let's get someplace where you can go ahead and get into school and afford it, right? Let's lock down a JUCO. Let's lock down a community college. Let's knock out these two. And I need you to kick butt,
Right.
take names, know your professors. They should know you by name because when a scholarship pops up, when an opportunity pops up, you want your name the first out their mouth. That's a connection,
Right.
right? So I'm telling, okay, we're going to alternate plan B, right? I said, and then you able to come in to the place where you want to go, and they're able to offer you that scholarship because it's just 2 years. You're
Yeah.
able to come in at a higher grade level than maybe where you were before, and you're much more mature. So when you appreciate the fact that you got it,
Yes, sir.
hey man, that's how I'm running it, bro. That's how I'm running it, man.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you. I'm with you right there. I mean, try to explain it. Just do what you need to do right now to get where you want to go.
It's so true.
That you're not, reaching your goals. It just might not.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Hey, let me ask you this. You know, all those all those social opportunities at Morehouse. Freaknik, pajama party.
Friday at Lower Manley and Spelman.
Oh boy, Friday and Low
Every
Man.
every Friday, 12 o'clock. be looking busted during the week, but come Friday, 12 o'clock, shoot, I'm about to go on over here and see what I got to do.
Haircut. Yeah. Boy, oh boy.
Man, bro.
Do you remember? Do you remember? I don't know. You remember Darius? You remember Darius Watkins? You remember Darius? He
Yeah.
used to cut. Okay. Well, yeah. So Darius, Darius' son played for me also. He's at Morehouse.
Wow.
He's a rising senior at Morehouse this year. Yeah.
Wow.
Telling you, man. I mean, I love. I don't know if you remember Snoop Kane. What's Snoop's last name? Terry Tompkins. You remember Terry?
Yeah.
Snoop. His son played for me.
Man, dude.
His son, matter of fact,
You breaking up a little
both of
bit.
his sons played for me. Yeah. Well, they're both in school. They both played for me. They're both in school. Both of them got one of them got basketball scholarship. The other had academic scholarship. So, yeah.
You do know you should be the coach of Morehouse basketball, right?
No, I would love to coach there. I think Coach Brewer's in the right
I know I
place.
know I know
I
Brewer's the
think the
man.
budget prohibits. I think he would like us. I think he would like for one of us to come follow him. I don't know if you know. You remember Roderick Stubbs? You remember Rod
Remember
Stubbs?
Stubbs?
Well, Stubbs is coaching at Oxford. Emory at Oxford is a junior college outside the city. He's the
Okay.
head coach there and the athletic director. Who Morehouse should have hired. They just hired another guy. They should have hired Rod to be the AD.
Wow.
Um, you've got Larry coaching. Larry coaches on the collegiate level. He was with Sacramento. He was with LA. He's with LA as well. You've got there's a number of guys that I would love to do it. I don't think I have. Honestly, I don't think I have the college level experience to do it. I would love to be on the staff, but if it were going to be done the right way,
Dave Dada is a modest man. I'm gonna tell you right now. If you are from Morehouse and you are actually watching this, vote Dave Dada for head coach.
I,
Basketball. It's my man. I
I'm not
guarantee
saying
you.
I'm not saying I could not do the job.
Oh,
I'm not
dude.
saying I could not do the job. I know I can do the job.
I'm a
I'm just saying,
witness. I'm a
preparation.
witness. I am a witness, dude. Dave, I think you are just overall, man. I think you're just a phenomenal guy. Like I said, you are a gentleman among men, and I appreciate your honest candor, your being genuine and authentic. And that's the reason why I love having you on the show, man. Because today, anybody who's watching this literally picked up very simple things. It wasn't complex. This wasn't some, flowery way of trying to get to a point, overly, verbose. It simply was just very simple things and how you can move from point A to point B
Point B.
and do some things Dave, that's why, man, you always got a spot in my heart, bro. Much love to you, man. Much love
I
to you.
appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Definitely appreciate that, Dan.
Yeah, man. So, any last things you wanna say to the folks that you too near me not to hear me, bro? Besides, go Tigers. Let's get it past this COVID.
Absolutely. I'm just going to say this. This is another thing that I tell my guys. Relationships are so important. Develop them, nurture them, treat them with respect, and hold near and dear to your heart. That's all I'll say. That's it. That's sign off.
Bruh, I love it. I love it, man. I appreciate you, man. And always, you guys, please tune in, subscribe to the channel You Too Near Me Not to Hear Me on YouTube. We also have a music show that is called You Mind If I Play Something For You? This is the incomparable Mr. David Dada, and we'll see you guys next time. Take it easy.